Your personal statement is your opportunity to show off in front of a medical school, to show them why you should be picked above tens of thousands of other people. It's arguably one of the most important things in your application to medical school. When I applied for medicine, I got 3 interviews and 3 offers. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 things you have to include in your medical school personal statement. My name is Kieran, I'm a junior doctor and a comedian, so if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can get updates about future videos. Tip number 1, work experience is so important. Being a doctor is a serious commitment and they don't want people who are going to start the course and then drop out because they don't know what they're in for. That's why work experience is key in any medical school application, and that's why it's at the top of the list. So by talking about your work experience and importantly what you've actually learned from it, you're able to show them that you don't kind of want to do medicine, you've really researched it, thought about it long and hard, and you're going to thrive when you start the course. Work experience doesn't just have to be in a hospital either. You can find work experience absolutely anywhere. Obviously hospitals are good, also GP practices, pharmacies, dental practices, anywhere in a kind of medical setting that you can show that you've looked at your options, you know what medicine is about, that's perfectly fine. Tip number 2, talk about hard work. And this is something that a lot of people don't tell you, but actually you need to demonstrate that you know medicine is hard work. And this kind of ties into the work experience. So in not so many ways, you need to say, I know this is hard work, but A, it's something I really want to do, and B, here is how I can show that actually I've put in the hard work before. I've got to grade 8 on these instruments, I've always been top of my class in academics, I've done all of these other activities and put in the hard work in the past, and I'm going to be able to use these skills and the knowledge about how to work hard on the course. Tip number 3, and still kind of related to the work experience, because as I said, that is the most important thing about this personal statement. Pick a specific example from your work experience and reflect on this. Reflection is a thing that they absolutely love and that you have to do throughout your whole time at medical school and also when you're a doctor as well. So if when you're a future doctor, you're showing that you're able to do things, reflect on them and grow from that, I think that's key. It also shows that you didn't just turn up to your work experience, you actually engaged with what was going on. If work experience has been difficult to get, you need to go out of your way to show that you've done other things to get experience. So you need to talk about doctors that you've spoken to, about virtual conferences that you're attending, all of that sort of stuff to show that yes, because of the coronavirus, I wasn't able to get the right work experience, but I've done all of these other things that I can show an understanding of medicine with. So a good specific example would be something like when I was in my hospital placement, I saw the FY2 doctor breaking some bad news to a family about their relative. And it made me realize how communication skills are so important in medicine. It made me realize how much I have to learn. It made me really want to get to that point where that doctor was at. So that sort of specific example is a really good way of showing that you engaged with your work experience and also that you were able to reflect on it. Tip number 4, show motivation and also empathy. You'll obviously at some point have to talk about why you want to be a doctor. Lots of people would have really similar answers for this. I think a good way of doing it is to tie it in with being an empathetic person. I have seen firsthand suffering and that made me want to make a difference. And I thought by becoming a doctor, I can make that difference. The example that I used is that I grew up with a cousin who had a disability. So I saw how everyday tasks were much more difficult for her, and it made me realize that I want to help people like her. I want to be able to make that difference. This shows that A, you've got an actual motivation for wanting to study medicine, and B, that you're a human being and not just a robot. You need to be an actual person with a personality and the heart to be the kind of candidate that they're looking for to become a doctor. Tip number 5, show balance. This is really important because we've talked about how medicine can be really hard work, and to offset this, you need to show that you have other things that you're good at and that you can do to have balance in your life. This is key for when you're working hard at medical school and then working hard as a doctor. So by showing that you've got balance, it shows that you're a rounded person, you've worked hard through your life, and also, importantly, that you're not going to burn out when you start working loads and loads of hours as a doctor in the hospital. You can also use this part to show your commitment to something. So for example, saying that I played saxophone to grade 8, or I did DV Platinum, or whatever you kids are doing nowadays. That sort of thing shows that you are committed, and commitment is a really big part of medical school. So here's a bonus tip now, tip number 6. Write it in good prose. So I've read loads of personal statements that have a lot of good content, but they're just not written in very good English and they become quite difficult to read. And that doesn't mean that there was grammatical errors and spelling errors. What it means is that the syntax wasn't right. So make sure that it reads well. You've got a mixture of long sentences and short sentences, that there are no grammatical errors in there at all, and that as a standalone article, it's a pleasure to read. That actually makes a really big difference and would make you stand out compared to other people. Maybe if you've got the time and the resources, ask one of your teachers at school to proofread it to check it reads okay. So you've shown that you understand what medicine is because of your work experience, reflected on a specific example, talked about how you know that it's hard work, you've written it in good prose, you've shown a great motivation, empathy, and also balance in your life. There's no reason why you can't turn your application into an interview. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you've got any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I am @AnotherIndianDoctor. Also, if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can get updates about future videos. Good luck, guys. Take care and stay safe.